Distinguished guests, students, faculty, and staff, family and friends, members of the community, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Marty Connors. I'm the President and CEO of Rollstone Bank and Trust. I'm also the Chairman of the Board of Trustees here at Fitchburg State University. It is my great pleasure to join with you today as we honor Bob and Jeannie Antonucci here in the shadow of what is now the Robert V. and Jean S. Antonucci Science Complex. I thank you for being here to share this historic event. Before I introduce the first speaker, I'd like to add a personal note. While my years as a trustee has been a professional milestone for me, my friendship with Bob and Jean is one I will cherish for years to come. They are truly impactful people, and my wife Kit and I are very proud to consider them our friends. You will hear many similar comments today. So now let's get this thing underway. Please welcome the first of our distinguished guest speakers, Congressman Jim Mcgovern. Congressman, thank you.
Well, thank you, Marty, and thank you all for being here today. What a beautiful day. And I almost didn't make it. I was coming down Highland Ave, and there was this big party going on, and I thought, is this the place I'm supposed to be? And I got out, and I was the only one who had a shirt on. But I realized I was in the wrong place, but I said, what a school. I love it. But we are blessed in Massachusetts with some of the finest colleges and universities in the world. It is our natural resource. We in Massachusetts understand the importance of higher education. We understand the link between higher education and jobs. We realize that our nation will not be competitive in the world economy unless we have a well-educated workforce. That is why support for our colleges and universities is so important. And I feel especially proud when I'm on this campus, the campus of Fitchburg State University. Even though technically this is in Niki Tsongas' district, I do represent Leominster, and I feel that it's in my district too, because so many of my constituents in this part of the state come here. And it is an incredible opportunity, and everybody who comes here loves it. But I've watched in awe as this institution has grown over the years, both in terms of infrastructure and in terms of prestige. It is a magnificent place, and much of the credit goes to the two people that we are honoring today. I am very pleased that this science complex will be named after Bob and Jean Antonucci. This science center, in addition to being an appropriate tribute, is a critical investment in our region's future. The jobs of tomorrow will require the skills that will be taught right here. Higher education institutions like Fitchburg State University are particularly important to the Commonwealth's future. We know that 85% of state university graduates remain in state and form the backbone of our local workforce. Educating and training students who live in the region and want to stay in the region is good for everyone, and we see that in the generations that stay and prosper in central Massachusetts. So as we continue to see the world shrink due to globalization, educational institutions like Fitchburg State University will play an increasingly important role in training the workforce of the future for North Worcester County. And the leader we have to thank for the forward thinking put forth by Fitchburg University is the president, Bob Antonucci. And I can't think of anyone who is more deserving of the honor of having this new state-of-the-art science center named after them than Bob and Jean. You know, it's always a proud moment for any institution when an alumnus of a college or university returns to head that institution. Bob began his education here at Fitchburg State University as an undergraduate in 1963, has 2 degrees from this university, and is retiring this year after a highly successful 12-year run as president. Not only that, Jean has both a bachelor's and a master's degree from Fitchburg State University. They are clearly a source of pride for this incredible institution. Not only is Jean a proud alum of Fitchburg State, She's an educator and a businesswoman. In fact, she sits on the board of directors of the Seven Hills Foundation, an organization that is second to none. Bob is a true leader in North Worcester County and in the Commonwealth. His leadership and his vision for Fitchburg State University have truly made this a 21st century institution. His commitment to educational excellence is clear, from his 35 years in the field of education to his service as the Commonwealth's Commissioner of Education to his tenure as president of this great university. Bob began his career as a teacher in 1967, served as an assistant superintendent of schools in Leominster and the superintendent of schools in Falmouth. Apparently, he's done it all. I don't feel qualified to be in his presence. But he's done it all, and he's done it really well. The Antonuccis are a proud family of educators. In fact, Bob's mentor, who happens to be his brother-in-law, Lou Amadeo, was also an educator. Both Bob and Jean have dedicated their lives to the education of others, and we thank them for that. Let me just say this, and I think everybody here would agree with me. They are great leaders, but more importantly, they are very, very, very good people. Everyone here has a personal story. Everyone here can attest to their kindness, their generosity, and their compassion. So I'm looking forward to the day when I'm able to walk through these doors and into the Bob and Jean Antonucci Science Center. And in the meantime, I am pleased to be here at this dedication. And I'll just close by saying thank you, Bob and Jean, for your service to this university, to this community, and to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Congressman McGovern's off to another event in Boston, so thanks again for making the trip out here for a quick stop. Our next group of speakers are state officials, all of whom have worked closely with Bob for many years. First up is Fitchburg Mayor Lisa Wong.
I don't know about you, but I have never met a harder worker than Bob Antonucci. But I've learned in the more than decade of knowing him that the secret to his hard work is having somebody like Jean Antonucci by his side. It's been an honor to know Bob and Jean for so many years. In fact, less than 6 months ago, both of them graced my wedding with my husband, Anthony Soto, so I really appreciate all of their friendship and hard work. Now, over this past decade, so much has happened. First, when I was at the Redevelopment Authority, we talked about the redevelopment of North Street. We bought properties, tore them down, turned them into housing, offices, built new landscape, began to see college kids thriving on North Street. Then we moved to this campus. We saw new residential centers. We saw a new cafeteria. We saw new athletic fields. Every time I come here, I feel like there's a new building that we're building. So it's really only fitting that after all this time, the premier building that is not just an honor for Fitchburg, but really a huge presence and gift for all of North Central Massachusetts is named after these two wonderful people, the Bob and Jean Science Complex. I know for me, it is something that will be just a tip of the iceberg for the legacy that you've built here. You have had such an open door policy for myself as a public official, but also for the staff and the students here. It's hard to imagine how much work you got done. So I know that the two of you, the first thing that you would say is that you had good people behind you, that you had good people working on with you, and that really speaks to who you are. So I want to take a note from them, and I want to thank every single person that was involved with the idea, with the vision, with the financing, with the building, and finally to putting on today's event. Thank you on behalf of the city. Thank you on behalf of Bob and Jean Antonucci.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Now from our sister city, Leominster, Mayor Dean Mazzarella.
I am not Robert Antonucci. If I had a dime for every parent and grandparent that came up to me and said, my kid's getting C's in class, he gets A in gym, but he's a good kid. You think you could get him in. Oh, and his mother was Italian. I'd be a rich man. Several years ago, many years ago, when Lou Amadio received the Italian American Award in Leominster, Italian American of the Year, I kidded Bob about the fact that everywhere you went, there was a picture, and I teased him. I said, there's floor mats named after him. The toilet paper has his picture on it. Dunkin' Donuts took all the D's off the doors when you come in, and they put BA on them. But little did I know, and I guess I did know, that this would happen here. And that's a whole lot of work and commitment from his family, who sometimes you can't get to those events, and you understand, and he's sort of building this here for generations to come. And little did I know, at the end of the day, this is what it would look like. I had a sense that this is what it looked like. So on behalf of everyone from Leominster, there are a lot of people here that knew Bob when he was just a little guy and Jeannie just a little lady. We're very proud of you and what you've done as a team. And we know you get to make the calls and he gets the credit for it. They know that. But on behalf of all the people that are here, who know Bob as Chalk, who know the family as Antonucci, who know the whole story of the immigration of their parents that came here from Italy. It's not only just Italian immigrants, but immigrants across the city and people from across the city who are just so proud of everything that's been done here. And so today, on behalf of people from our city, no, I'm not Bob Antonucci. I cannot get you into college, but I can be here to give you our welcome and our strongest of thank yous to both of you for the great job, and your family too as well, because you know for them it's a lot of times when you have to say no, and we'll make it up to you later, and I know you will. So great job, congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, please now welcome State Representative Stephen DiNatale.
For a moment, let me speak Leominster. So what's the story? This is the story. I want to say thank you to everyone who's in attendance today. I see some of my colleagues, past and present. Representative Benson is here. Thank you, Representative, for attending. Also, former Representative Vincent Pedoni. We've got Denise Andrews from Dennis Rosa's office in Leominster. Thank you, Denise. I offer regrets from Senator Flanagan and Representative Zlotnick, who could not be here today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone to the celebration and dedication of the Robert V. and Jeannie S. Antonucci Science Complex. In 2003, Dr. Robert V. Antonucci became president of Fitchburg State College, as well as the city's largest employer. He immediately set forth on renovations and rehabilitation of underused buildings, enhancing everything as well as its programs. I'm reminded of the great Ramses, the pharaoh in Egypt, and I often refer to him as the great pyramid builder. And whenever you came on campus, there was always something going on, some sort of construction. Didn't take the president long to realize that Fitchburg State had the most antiquated and outdated science facilities among all our colleges. The poor condition of the college's Klondike Science Facility had been cited as an area of concern by accrediting agencies. It had deteriorated to the point where use was limited, safety issues abound, and makeshift measures were ineffective. Students in teaching nursing, biology, chemistry, computer science, and other fields who represent the future leaders of the Commonwealth could not possibly develop the skills they needed to thrive and compete in our high-tech global economy. A new science center was paramount at Fitchburg State was to attract the best and brightest students from the region and the state and train them for critically important professions in this 21st century. Without delay, he was on a mission. For the next 2 years, and with the help of HUD, the college started assessing and documenting its specific science facility needs. And in consultation with the Department of Capital Asset Management, it completed a study and a detailed cost analysis. Finally, in 2008, the legislature, and many of my colleagues are here today, passed the higher education bond bill and appropriated $57,000 for a new science center and renovation of existing facilities at Fitchburg State College. In 2010, the legislature voted to grant Fitchburg State University status. This reaffirmed the scope and prestige of this remarkable institution. Thank you, Bob and Jeannie, and congratulations on this really momentous occasion.
Thank you, Steve. Those of us who have toured the Science Building have been amazed by its physical splendor. But of course, the heart and soul of the building lies in the teaching, learning, and research that occurs in the classrooms and laboratories. We will now hear from those who can offer an inside perspective. Dean Margaret Hoey will set the stage.
Good afternoon and welcome. I can't believe this day has finally arrived. I was involved with the design of the new facility from the very beginning, and I can tell you that it was truly a collaborative effort by everyone on campus. So many people helped in large ways and small ways. It was so exciting to work with all of you, and I'd like to say once again, thank you for your efforts. When I arrived on the Fitchburg State Campus 22 years ago at the age of 5, as a professor of biology, I joined a great faculty, I had terrific students, and I have to say we had an excellent program. Unfortunately, over time, I have to say that the aging building began to be a liability. We began to recognize that it was becoming very difficult to provide our students with an excellent education. Furthermore, I was department chair at the time. I realized that we were going to have a hard time recruiting new young faculty. So in short, the quality of our program was in jeopardy because our building was aging and no longer adequate. Today we stand before the new Antonucci Science Complex. If you have not gone through the building, I encourage you to go through, get someone to open up some of the labs and take a look. The design of a new facility is an exciting prospect in theory, but a very difficult one to carry out. And I have to say, we knew that we had a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and we wanted to make it perfect. Now, I can tell you there was no shortage of ideas as to what we needed, what we wanted, or who was going to get the most space. Unfortunately, we had unlimited ideas, but not an unlimited budget. We were so fortunate to work with such a great architectural firm, with the lab consultants, with the construction company, and they were truly able to turn our aspirations into reality. Personally, I think the building is magnificent. But I'm not biased or anything. But you shouldn't take my word for it. I'm the dean. Nobody listens to the dean. So now you're going to hear from a faculty member and a student representative, and they're going to tell you what it's like to work in the new facility. So it's with a great deal of pleasure that I introduce Dr. Christopher Perconi, Associate Professor of Biology.
Thank you, Meg. It's an honor to represent the faculty here. I'm pretty sure I was chosen because I'm the only science faculty member with an Italian last name. And for that, I have to thank my great-grandfather, who got off the boat from Italy in 1899, and he settled on 239 Water Street in Fitchburg, right by the market basket. So he knew this would be a friendly place to Italians. So speaking of history, I like to see the architecture of a place teach us something about our past and where we came from. And let me start with a quick note that behind me is the Klondike Science Wing. It's named for George Klondike, who was a longtime chair of the chemistry department here. He led the physical sciences, and he was, for a short time, dean of the college. And we're really honored to have George Klondike's son here in the audience. Brian Klondike, could you stand up and be recognized? Brian, thank you. The further honor is that George Klondike is 98 years old, still drives, lives independently, And so, Bob and Jean, the good news is that apparently having a building named after you really helps your longevity. So now we have a new science complex for a new period in Fitchburg State's history, the Age of Antonucci. And in the Age of Antonucci, we know a lot about the renovations in the neighborhood, or renovations on campus. What's not as well known is the transformation in the sciences. In the Age of Antonucci, the number of full-time science faculty has increased 70%. But here's the kicker. The number of majors in the sciences has increased 3.5 times. Right? We have 3.5 times majors in biology, chemistry, earth sciences. That's quite an accomplishment. Some students have told us that they chose to attend here or even transferred here from other universities because of the opportunities that building offers. We have labs that are bright and beautiful and full of new equipment. Every floor of this science complex, both the renovated wings and the new wings, every floor has several research spaces for collaboration between faculty and, more importantly, collaboration between faculty and students for independent projects. Those are the kind of experiences that will train and retain the very best students here. We have an animal care facility, a greenhouse right up there. We have a microscope suite. We have a cell culture lab, et cetera, et cetera. We have offices with windows. You have no idea what that means to faculty. We have student study spaces, which is often overlooked, but we have these tiny little nooks tucked into the renovated wing where students are always in there and they're on whiteboards and they're arguing with each other about course content. That's a great learning environment. That's really effective. So we're thrilled to have all of that. Now, our previous space, which we've heard about a little bit, after 60 years of hard use, we have to admit it had its charm and its warmth. Literally, it had its warmth. Our offices were over 80 degrees most of the year. I think I won't get a lot of sympathy for that right now from this crowd, so I'll move on. So right now, given the changes it made in the Age of Antonucci, the new name of the science complex makes a lot of sense. This building sends a message about our values at Fitchburg State. This building sends a message that's consistent with the name the structure now holds as of yesterday. And the message is that we are going to offer an Ivy League education whether or not you can afford one. That's an important message, an important value that attracted us here. But more importantly to me, when I look at the name on this building, on this complex, I'm going to look up and think of a picture of myself on the phone in my underwear. Pause for a minute. I'll let you take that in. You see, it was the spring of 2004. My job search for a tenure-track permanent position wasn't going real well. My wife was getting a little nervous. I had some temporary teaching, but nothing permanent. And I got out of the shower one spring morning getting ready for work, and a phone call came in from this new president of Fitchburg State College. Really nice guy, had an Italian last name, very pleasant. I thought he sounded like Robert De Niro. I thought, this is cool, I'm getting hired by Robert De Niro. So my wife was so excited by what was happening, she took a picture of me standing there in nothing but boxer shorts on the phone with my new employer. It's in our photo album if anybody wants to see it. So, and Bob, I have to say, I'm really glad back then Skype did not exist. That would have been awkward. But on a serious note, that really was probably the most important phone call of my life. It changed everything. And I started reflecting the last few days. We have a whole crop of new science faculty here, that 70% increase I talked about. And they also all received that same phone call from Bob Antonucci. That changed everything for them. So for decades to come, the name on this building will remind us of how we got here and why we came here and the values of this institution. So thank you, Bob and Jean, for the lift you all gave us. And you will be missed more than you may ever know. Thank you. I'll introduce our next speaker. Rob Pachowski is currently the president of the Biology and Chemistry Club. Rob is a great example of a student who has worked hard and taken advantage of every opportunity here. Rob has really excelled in both academics and service to this university. Rob.
Thank you, Dr. Bocconi. Good afternoon, President Antonucci, Mrs. Antonucci, honored guests, and the Fitchburg State community. My name is Robert Pachowski, and I'm a senior double-degree student studying biology and psychology, and I am honored to speak to you all today on behalf of the student body. I started my college career at Fitchburg State in the fall of 2009. During my time at Fitchburg State, I have been heavily involved in my academic studies, both inside and outside the classroom, participating in independent studies concerning research in both molecular biology and neuroscience. In addition to my academic pursuits, I've been involved in several committees and clubs across campus, presently serving as president of our biology and chemistry club. My interest in the biological side of neuroscience started in 2011 when I took my general biology lab. I loved the hands-on nature of these classes, and it grabbed my attention within the first month. In those days, we had facilities dating back to the 60s and 70s. I remember walking through the hallways of the old Klondike building and smelling the formaldehyde early in the morning as I walked to class. I remember sitting at the lab benches carved with student initials and messages from years long past. I also remember getting the occasional shock from when I plugged in the microscopes to the bench. The facilities we had made it difficult to nurture student interest in research. Very long story short, after delaying my graduation in 2013, I decided to add a second degree in biology, and I've not regretted that decision one bit. I've had immense opportunities to work in the new science complex. This state-of-the-art facility also features new equipment that has created opportunities for student and faculty research. One such opportunity occurred for me during an independent study in which I had been working with Dr. Thomas Schoenfeld, researching neurogenesis in olfactory epithelium. When the Science Center opened, Fitchburg State was able to purchase a microscope with funding from the Alden Foundation. This microscope is better than what is found in the field today, outfitted with the newest software. I was the first student to work with the microscope, which gives me an edge compared to my peers from other universities. This opportunity has already paid dividends, helping me secure an undergraduate research experience at the University of Connecticut Storrs, where I was one of 10 students selected by the faculty from over 400 applicants. At this internship, I represented Fitchburg State proudly and showed them what I learned from this institution. When I'm not in the Hammond Building tutoring math and biology classes, I can always be found in the Science Center. People know where I am by my iconic blue or black lunchbox hanging outside one of the labs. I could say that the Science Center has become a second home to me. I know that when I graduate, I will have the skills that other students from other universities won't have. I know that as time passes, these facilities will improve even further. More student research will be taking place, more equipment will be purchased. I know that these facilities are going to foster more involvement from the student body in research and pursuing science degrees. President Antonucci has had a great impact on this institution. Without him, we wouldn't have the beautiful campus center or the renovated, updated classrooms across Fitchburg State. This science complex is a true testament to 12 years of devotion and hard work by President Antonucci, and is a new beginning for students who will study science at Fitchburg State for generations to come. I can't imagine spending the last 6 years of my life anywhere else than this close-knit community. The faculty, staff, administrators, students, and now the Robert V. and Jean S. Antonucci Science Complex goes to show us why Fitchburg State is, as the president says, and will continue to stay, the #1 state university. Thank you.
Nice job. If those of you sitting down here would like to rearrange your seats so the other side of your face gets sunburned, in the interest of science, we can do that. It is testimony to Bob and Jean's stature that we have not one, but 2 United States representatives as part of our program today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congresswoman Niki Tsongas.
Thank you, Marty, and it's great to be here with all of you on this wonderful day. And it's also so great to see the outpouring of support for Bob and Jean, 2 remarkable people for whom I have such great respect. Both the university and the city of Fitchburg have been benefited tremendously from their shared passion for high-quality, accessible public education and their commitment to this particular university, their alma mater, as well as the city of Fitchburg, its home. The accomplishments during Bob's 12-year tenure have been many, but I would like to highlight a few that demonstrate the engaged partnership mentality Bob and Jean have brought to this tenure. First and foremost, this spectacular science complex we will name after Bob and Jean today. I have made a point of visiting many companies throughout the 3rd District, and it is ever clear to me how critical the sciences are to our Massachusetts economy. Our students must be prepared with skills for the modern workforce, and our Massachusetts institutions of higher education have a critical role to play. Knowing that 85% of FSU's graduates will stay in Massachusetts, this center reflects the university's commitment, under Bob's leadership, to being a partner in addressing that need. While meeting the intellectual interests and talents of FSU students, it will also help assure a supply of graduates in science, technology, engineering, and math, a workforce that will support and advance the economic interests of the state and help it to thrive in an extraordinarily competitive global economy. I have to tell you, as I visit those companies, I always say after I've had a briefing, I understand about a third of what you do, but thank God you do it. And that's so true for the students who will commit their professional careers and work here in this center. From his first days in office, President Antonucci has also worked to strengthen the university's commitment to the city of Fitchburg, employing and deploying the university's assets in a multi-year effort to connect the university to the city in large ways and small. Just recently, I drove by the newly refurbished president's home, where Jean and Bob have spent the last year, and could see firsthand the powerful message the university was sending about its deep engagement with the city. How important this is, and I commend the Antonucci administration, the age of Antonucci, for making this investment, reflected in so many others it has made. For example, opening the campus center and dining commons out to the city with a new glass wall, or the creation of a boulevard connecting the university's central artery with the city's main street. The university and the city are indelibly intertwined, and the passionate commitment of the university to be an engaged partner with the city is invaluable to this city's future. And under Bob's leadership, the university has partnered with faculty and the students it seeks to educate, creating new fields of study as needed, easing access through online programs, and embracing new technologies, just to name a few. Throughout these past 12 years, Jean Antonucci has been the university's most tireless ambassador, staying true to her deep roots in North Central Massachusetts, her allegiance to her alma mater, and the belief she deeply shares with Bob in the necessity for public institutions of higher education that enrich and sustain our communities while providing our students with the intellectual underpinnings and skills for productive lives in the 21st century. Today, we are gathered to celebrate their bond with the city, the university, and to each other. It is a shared legacy. It is my honor to join you today in that celebration, as it has been my real honor to work with both of them over these last several years. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. It is now my pleasure to bring to the podium my friend, colleague, and former chair of the Board of Trustees, Carol Vittorioso, who will comment and introduce our guests of honor. Carol?
Thank you, Marty. One of the responsibilities assigned to trustee chairs at Massachusetts public universities is an annual evaluation of the president. For me, it was never a difficult task. It was an honor and a pleasure. Here is an excerpt of one such report I wrote to the commissioner. The new section of the state-of-the-art Science Center is completed, and the Phase 2 renovation of Klondike Hall is nearly complete. The President's vision of capital improvements continues to be unsurpassed. The Klondike overhaul will combine with the new structure to create 100,000 square feet of the very best laboratory instructional office space, while allowing us to open the newly landscaped north end of the campus quadrangle as a main focal point of the university. Expanding on the President's accomplishments, I wrote, capital improvements result in enhanced instruction. The President's success in the improvement of curriculum was evidenced in 2012-2013 with the university's reestablishment of its chemistry major after more than 20 years. That move, closely related to the new facility, was unanimously approved by the Board of Higher Education. Looking back, it's clear that President Antonucci set his sights on a new science complex soon after he was reunited with his alma mater in 2004 as the university's 10th president. The task was not easy, nor quickly accomplished, Competition for state-funded buildings is always intense, but when a bond bill was announced, Bob's diligent work resulted in our project being ranked near the top. Still, there were challenges: budget negotiations, design, furnishings, and much more. But Bob and his team got it done, and his longtime vision is now a reality. Even among his fellow presidents of the state universities here in Massachusetts, Bob has always been seen as a leader. He unfailingly returned to his fundamental belief in the value of the public universities and their demonstrated impact on students. Following a recent presentation of his presidential goals to the Board of Trustees this past year, President Antonucci concluded with the following remarks to us. As I have said since my first day as president, the student learning experience is what the university is all about. We are here because of students. We are here because we believe that our institution is among the best in its class and its future remains bright. We need to demonstrate this through actions and results. I believe in this university, in what it does, and its limitless future. The names on this building symbolize more than the extraordinary amount of work that was devoted to this building and so many other initiatives over the years. In a more significant sense, we are celebrating Bob and Jean's love and commitment to their alma mater and to all who study, teach, and work here. That was illustrated when they early on established the Robert V. and Jean S. Antonucci Student Leadership Award to assist a graduating senior as they embark on a career or graduate program. Bob and Jean respect and admire the university staff and treat them like family. They revel in the close relationships they forged with students, many of whom are first generation, as they themselves were. And now, at the end of their tenure, Bob and Jean are creating another scholarship program, the Antonucci Family Scholarship, which will be awarded to first-generation freshmen from North Central Massachusetts. During my time working with students here on campus, I have witnessed Bob walk out of his busy office to give private tours, personally escort visitors, and generally express deep interest in all who visit. I have seen Jean graciously welcome guests, politicians, and students, speak at public events, and more often than not, cue Bob from off stage. Bob and Jeannie have embraced my extended family, spoiled my daughter, and welcomed my friends into their home, treating them like longtime pals. In sum, they consider people skills to be as important as leadership skills. So Bob frequently tells those of us making presentations here at the university to keep it short and don't screw it up. So I hope I haven't violated the first part of that admonishment, and before I'm guilty of the second, I'll stop talking. Except for one line. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great enthusiasm and love that I introduce to you my wonderful friends, Bob and Jean Antonucci.
Whoops. Thank you, Carol. You listened well. All right? You did a good job. Before I make a few remarks, I'd just like to extend a sincere gratitude to all the people who made this day possible. And it is impossible to name them all. We had a great festivity here today with the students and staff at noontime, and then this program this afternoon just doesn't happen. So thank you to all of our team members who made the extraordinary effort here today. There are many public officials here, and I can't name them all. I thank all of you for coming, friends who are here, past trustees, alumni, students, and anybody. I'm really happy that you took the opportunity to join us. My family who's here this afternoon, sister-in-laws, nieces, nephews, cousins, etc., they're all here. And then I'll introduce my immediate family in a minute. Thank you to CBT Architect for designing this building. They did a terrific job. Let's give them a round of applause. Bond Brothers Contractors from Denver is exceptional. They started the day after Christmas, never missed a day of work, and this building is second to none. Let's hear it for them. to the Department of Asset and Asset Management from the state for funding it and supervising it. Also from the Commissioner's Office, Nate McKinnon is representing the Commissioner. Nate, welcome here this afternoon. My friend at the #1 community college, Dan Esquino. Dan, welcome. My good buddy, former Commissioner Dave Driscoll. Welcome, David and his wife. Two of my past chairs who had a say in this building. Peter Alcock was the first chair of the board when I came. Peter, you're here somewhere. And your wife, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. And Greg Lascotti was another chair I worked with. Greg? And you heard from Carol and from Marty. Also on the stage, other members of the Board of Trustees. Hold your applause till I have them all stand. Dr. Rob Abineau, Mike Mahan, Anthony Mercadante, Anna Clemente, Don Irving, and our student trustee, Meg. Did I miss anyone? I got Mike Mahan. Yeah, good. Thank my family for coming also. They're all here. It's great. In the front row is my son, John, his wife, Jennifer, my daughter, Karen, her husband, Doug, my 5 grandsons, Robbie, Jack, Andrew, Jake, Anthony. Why don't you 5 of you guys stand up? And then the rest of my relatives are all here. You can meet them all after. This building is a tribute to Gene and I'm very gratified for it. I'm also telling you this was one of the most difficult ceremonies I had to participate in because I had no control of it. The first activity in 12 years I did not have a say in. And I was told to step back, keep quiet, and mind your business. And I did. And it is a tribute to the staff who undertook this dedication this afternoon. A debt of gratitude to the Board of Trustees for their vote of confidence in Jeannie and myself. Without Gene, I wouldn't be here. We've been great partnerships our whole life. But this building is more than just... You are the best, right, guys? This building is more than just a building. I was a sophomore at Fitchburg State University when the new science building was built in 1965. And when I came back in 2003, they still called it the new science building. When I was a sophomore, we moved the old science building from Thompson Hall and the library to this building. And we all took part in that move. And we had our first class this year. So when Gene and I were here, we had state-of-the-art labs for our undergraduate experience. When I came back, there were signs on the door that said, do not use the water, do not turn on the gas, do not walk in, you may fall apart. But the tribute to our faculty was that they taught as well as they did with this new facility. But what this does today is guarantee our students today and students in the future of a top-rate education. No student who goes to a public university should have second-rate facilities, second-rate faculty members, second-rate equipment. We are now schools of choice. We are not backup schools. Our students can compete with students from any other private or public university. When I say we're the #1 state university, I mean it because we demonstrate through our statistics, through our experience, through our job placement, through our graduate programs, that we do it well. And that's a tribute to our faculty and to our students. So thank you very much. And I say to our staff and our students, anyone who criticizes the school, watch out, because I'll go after them. All right? The word is, this is a wonderful institution, as are the other state universities, and public universities, and private universities. We do what we do well, and it's a dedication that we have to our students to make it happen. So thank you for coming today. It's been a wonderful day. I'm proud of this dedication. I'm happy for it. I can't believe the people I see in the audience. Thank you for coming out. It's wonderful. And now, the woman who always wants the last word. I'm nervous about this, because I've done this with some faculty sessions, and I've been sorry. Because I think one time I said she follows me around campus, and she spoke up and said, I think I lead you around campus. So the person who leads me around campus, my wife, Jean Antonucci.
Don't leave. Everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So they're telling me that I need a stool. So how about if I just stand on my toes? Is that better?
How about if I lift you up?
Or I'll stand to the side. So I only have a few words to say, and I want to start by saying in 1966, as a young, newly married couple in Leominster, Massachusetts, our birthplace, we had little in terms of wealth. And I want you over here because this is about you. However, we set goals for our future with the love and support of our families and friends. We knew that we could accomplish these goals if we, as a couple, also supported and advanced each other. We found ourselves and our children in many adventures away from our roots for the next many years of our marriage and careers. Fast forward, and surprising even ourselves, 12 years ago, we came home again. We were once again blessed to be surrounded by our beloved families and reconnected with our dearest friends from our childhood and our young adult lives. God had indeed put us where we needed to be, and for that we are grateful. The bonus in these past 12 years is also found in the new friendships that we forged. We embraced and we were embraced by everyone on this campus. You all became our extended family. We've shared our disappointments, our achievements, our celebrations, and our losses, just as all families do. We value the love and support generated by you, our campus community, and will keep you all in our hearts forever. Now, Pres Bob, as students lovingly refer to him, had a plan for Fitchburg State College 12 years ago. His vision and hard work, but mostly his passion, has transformed our beloved alma mater into a 21st century university. Let's give him a hand for that. This university is known for its academic excellence and innovative programs. To quote its biggest fan, President Antonucci, this #1 state university provides our students with the keys to future successes. A little bit more. So today, on behalf of our children, grandchildren, and our families, I want to publicly thank Bob for his ability to juggle many hats: president, leader, mentor, friend, colleague, but always first, a loving husband, a caring father, and an adoring grandfather. Congratulations to you. So thank you to the Board of Trustees and the Board of Higher Education for this honor and recognition. Never did we realize so many years ago that our names would represent this building. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and know that we will always remain proud alums of this great institution that gave us our chance for a wonderful life. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, Bob and Jean, for those wonderful remarks. Thank you to our speakers today. Thank you to the platform party. Thank you to everyone who came here today to enjoy this with us and share this experience. That concludes our formal program. Please stay as we have a reception so you can socialize and give your best wishes. So, thank you.